Well, we're not actually in the shop today. For once. Out here to check wheat. Kind of curious to see if it broke dormancy yet. It looks like, I don't know. I don't think it quite has yet. Got some damn chickweed out here needs to be taken care of. But yeah, this is 9 acres of it anyhow, or like 9.5. I've gotten 2 different readings off the drill. It's between 9 and 9.5, somewhere in there. It's kind of weedy, but I didn't get any burn down sprayed on it like I should have. And also, this is not no-till wheat, this is full wet tillage wheat, which is odd for winter wheat, especially around here. But what had happened was, this field and the other one that I got planted into wheat, and I'm going to keep walking because I want to see if there's any trees fell down over the winter. But this field and the other one I got planted into wheat lay wetter than hell. As you can see, there's a wet spot I had to go around. There's a spring that comes off that property next to it, and some surface drainage. It all runs down through this swale, and it splits, and some goes that way and some goes that way. And there's a pond right there. That spot's all drowned out. I planted through that. So with the damn wet fall we had, these 2 fields that I got into wheat never got planted, because this was supposed to be corn, and the other field, I think they were both supposed to be, yeah, they were both supposed to be corn. And I didn't get a chance to plant them because they never dried out and it got too late. So what I did was waited till the end of July and came out here with a ripper and deep ripped both of them, which they were both in severe need of. Because I think this field had been no-till for a while, and the other field was just harder than hell because it's had all the topsoil stripped off of it for a gravel pit. So it's all clay. It's decent dirt now because it's been being farmed, but it's still all hard packed clay, and it doesn't drain for shit because it's full of spring. Both these fields are full of springs. So I got it ripped, and it sat. And what the fuck is that? Fall came around. Well, it started raining again. And it kept raining and it kept raining. And didn't think I was going to get a chance to plant anything. Well, it's a fucking stick and a rock. When I finally got her, we had a 4-day dry spell that just randomly came up at it was like right at the beginning of October, I think, because I actually got both these fields drilled in the week before I started combining, because I wanted to get this out of the way. So there's a 4-day dry spell, and I mean, these fields, they were sopping. They were wet. And normally, in that situation, when you're gonna plant winter wheat, you go in, you spray your burn down, and you no-till it. Well, I had 2 problems. First off, I had been in here and ripped this, so I needed to run the finisher over it to level it back out. Actually, I had 3 problems. I had to run the finisher over it to get it leveled back out. I don't have a no-till drill, so I couldn't have no-tilled it even if I wanted to. And it was so stinking wet that you'd have never got across this shit with a sprayer to begin with, even if you wanted to, without rutting the hell out of it. So One day went by and it started to firm up a little bit. Second day came by, still too wet. Third day, this field, which was the drier of the two, actually know that I might have worked this on the day or in the afternoon of the second day, and I think I planted this on the third dry day. But got this, came over here, got this worked. It was still wet. I mean, it was dry up here on top, but like all along this fence row lays wet. And there's actually a clay knob or a clay rise in between this field and the next field, so the water can't get across, so the water just runs up against that fence row and sits there. And it's wet from that patch of trees all the way around that spot, all the way up through that. I mean, there's, if it would have been spring, you'd have never thought about coming out here and working it. But I was like, fuck it, need to get this wheat in the ground, need to do something with it. So came out here, ran the finisher over it, ran shallow. I was only running the finisher, oh, maybe 4 inches deep. It was literally just enough to knock the ridges down from the ripper. And now I was working it shallow. And there were some spots I didn't even get the ridges knocked all the way down. I just kind of filled them in like it right there. So came over here, got the finisher over it, got it opened up. It finished drying out the next afternoon. I came over here and got it drilled, and it actually drilled in pretty nice, and it came up pretty good. I'm actually kind of a fan of this full width tillage wheat, because it came up really, really good. At least I think it did. This is my first time ever planting wheat, and it looks pretty damn good to me. I say I had some pretty good germination. Fuck, there's some weeds out here. And then the other field, I think I worked that. I think I got done planting this, and I went over and walked the other field, and it was borderline. I mean, that field is wet, like wet. And that field was borderline, but I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna try it. Went over there, and I had to be careful where I was driving, but I got over it. And there's 2 or 3 wet spots over there I had to go around with the finisher. I got probably 95% of it. Got that opened up. Let that dry out. And then the afternoon of the 4th day, with a storm blowing in, I could see it the whole time I was drilling, and I was thinking I was going to get wet. Got that field drilled in. Put 10 acres in, or 10 and a half acres in an hour and 45 minutes with my 66 and a 10-foot drill. And that was with 2 refills. I had to stop and refill it twice. Or did I stop and fill it once? I'm pretty sure I filled it twice, because I had Dad leave the tractor and the auger, or the tractor and the fertilizer wagon there, because I bought bulk wheat and dumped it in the fertilizer cart. Pretty sure I'd had to fill twice. So an hour and 45 minutes with stopping to fill the drill up twice. Boys and girls, that is hauling ass with a 10-foot drill. I was worried about my accuracy, but in the end, I tell you what, those old drills, they aren't the greatest for beans. They'll do the job, but they're not the greatest. But on wheat, I shit you not, I went through and I calibrated it and put bags on it and weighed it, did the whole 9 yards. I was within a pound of the gear setting on the drill chart. That's how accurate that drill was putting this wheat in the ground. That thing is an awesome wheat drill, and I will always keep it around just specifically for that purpose, because I had it set for I think the chart setting was 92 pounds. I think I ended up using 93 pounds an acre, which is not bad for a 60-year-old grain drill. Especially during, I think I was in 4th, damn near wide open. That's got to be pushing 6 miles an hour. I was hauling. But I got that other field drilled in, and I don't know, I think about 2-3 hours later that night, it rained again. That's how close I was to not getting any wheat, or not getting that field drilled in. And neither, if it was spring, you'd have never planted either one of these. They were still too damn wet. I was grasping for straws just trying to get this wheat in the ground. So that's why I never got any burn down sprayed on it, because it's one of them deals. Do you plant or do you spray burn down and waste it? Because if you sprayed burn down, you never had time to get it planted. So, or you got stuck with a sprayer and you'd have had a damn mess on your hands anyhow. So, and it was a bad year for wheat around here all the way around, because, well, there was a guy over last week we know came over to get some hoses, and we were shooting a shit. Farms in the next town over. The guys he worked for planted 300 acres of wheat, because they were the same deal. They had a bunch of, actually, most of the wheat around here that got planted specifically for that reason. The ground just never got planted in the spring because it was so damn wet. And they planted 300 acres of wheat, some of it 3 times, and of that 300 acres they planted, only about 80 came up. So just not an ideal fall for planting wheat. So with the stand I got, I think I did pretty damn good all in all, but it does need to get sprayed off for some of this chickweed, and there's some grass coming, which I doubt you can take care of the grass. I'm not really up on my wheat herbicides yet, so we'll have to see what's available. And I don't even know if I'm going to spray it, because my buddy's got some wheat out too, and his dad's got a nice Rogator that he sprays with. And I was talking to him, and if he has to put, because he didn't get any burn down sprayed either. He was in the same, everybody was in the same boat. Very few wheat acres got any burn down sprayed on it. And if he ends up having to spray any herbicide on his wheat, I might just have him do this for me, because he's got four-wheel drive, and he can come out here, and with, I think that thing's 90-foot booms, he can do this in 20 minutes, and it'd take me an hour. So then I don't got to dirty up my sprayer, and he can make a little money, and he'll already have the chemical order, so he could probably get it at a discount anyhow. So yeah, and now I just need to get out here and get some urea spread on it, get some nitrogen, but it needs to dry up a little first. I probably should have tried this weekend. Well, I was going to try this weekend until it fucking rained Saturday. And then we got about 2 inches of snow last night that all melted, so that's where all this water came from. And then, yeah, I'm only going to put 46 pounds on. I'm only going to spread 100 pounds of urea to the acre, because, well, as you can see, it's kind of wet, and I don't have very high. I wish I knew what this spring was going to do, because if we got another spring like we had last spring, a lot of this is probably going to get drowned out, and I honestly just don't have a bunch of hope for yield potential out here. If I can get 50 bushel wheat, I'll be happy. I'll be ecstatic. Especially for a first crop on the ground it's on, just because it's so wet. But it's also still got its full shot of corn fertilizer, because I had everything spread for corn, and it never got planted. So it doesn't really do you any good for nitrogen, because soil doesn't hold it. But there's at least fertilizer out here for it. So throw some urea at it, and that'll... I think 46 pounds will be all right. And it'll keep that'll 20 acres on 100 pounds an acre is only 2,000 pounds. That'll keep the spreader nice and light, so I can get over it and not run it up. Probably got to spread it with a 77, because that thing floats pretty good, and it's still got enough balls to pull the spreader. Ideally, I'd use the 1600, because it's on them floater tires now, but it's kind of a pain to get the loader off till we get the stands on it. So 77 it is, and she needs to work out anyhow. So anyway, don't know if it's worth showing you the other field. It's just another field of wheat, and I already told you about it. So that was fun to come out here and check and see if it broke dormancy yet, which it kind of doesn't. It's a little fluffier than last time I saw it, but I don't think it has. Really, you want to get your fertilizer spread on it before it starts to tiller. And it really hasn't yet, so I think, ow, pricker there. Which, if it does start to tiller, it is what it is. You got to spread it anyhow, but it's just better to get it before it breaks dormancy and starts to tiller, because then you don't hurt the plant and you won't see your wheel tracks. But there'll be wheel tracks anyhow if he needs to. If my buddy comes over and sprays it, well, it's going to get sprayed anyhow, but yep. Nice sticky ground. So anyhow, that's just a peek at the wheat. So hope everybody's enjoying their damn quarantine. Michigan and Indiana, as of midnight tonight, are on fucking mandatory, what the hell do they call it? Basically a mandatory shutdown. You got to stay home unless it's essential. I still got to go to work though. Not that I'm mad about it, it's better than sitting at home, but I also got shit I could do if I had to stay home. But then again, would I get in trouble for driving to mom and dad's to use a shop because you're fucking supposed to stay home? Everybody in this country needs to harden the fuck up. Can't shut a whole country down and expect everything to go on. And oh, especially this close to spring, there's too much shit needs to be going on right now. So anyhow, I guess that's it for this one. We'll catch y'all on the next.